Now we're going to practice measuring some different length lines with our 1-inch ruler here. So before we do that, I want to talk about the meaning of these lines again, what we did on a previous video, but this time it's more like a realistic measuring tape. It doesn't have anything marked on it except the 0 and the 1-inch mark. So remember, the way we look at this are we want to train your eyes to go to the different length lines. So if this is 1 inch, my eye goes first here and says, okay, that's a 1/2 inch. So half of a half is a quarter. So the next thing my eye looks at is these two lines. So I know this is 1/4 and this is 3/4. Remember, that's because this is 1/4. This is really 2/4, but we call it a half, and then 3/4. Okay, so if those are the quarters, the next thing my eye looks at is the next smaller line. So that's these lines here. So this is 1/8, 3/8, 5/8, and 7/8. And then the last thing I take in is the smallest lines. So that's 1/16, 3/16, 5/16, 7/16, 9/16, 11/16, 13/16, and 15/16. So that's the way that ruler works. So now we're going to measure some sample lines and see what the measurements are. So let's look at this first one, line up our measuring tape next to it. Okay, remember my eye goes right to here, 1/2 an inch. 1/2 of a half is a quarter. I go there, I look up here and say, ah, that's it. So that line is 1/4 of an inch. Go down to my next one here. I'm lining up my 0 with one end of the mark, reading at the other end. Okay, so remember my eye goes right to here. I know it's a half. I look up here. All right, that line is a 1/2 an inch. This line here, get my thing lined up. So my eye goes right to here. It's 1/2. Go up here. This is 3/4 because it's the next length line beneath a half. So we know that's 3/4. That's how long my line is. Try some more lines here. Line things up here. Okay, I got it lined up. So still, now you might talk to other people that are really good at reading tape measures, because I bet you'd find that different people have different ways that they do this. Mine is always, and I'm doing this really quickly, so obviously when I'm explaining it to you, I'm going kind of slowly, but really quickly, every time I read a tape measure, my eye goes down the different length lines. So my eye goes here, says that's a 1/2 an inch. This is a 1/4 inch. So that means these are eighths. And look at my line. So this is 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. So that line is 3/8 of an inch. Next one down. So now my eye starts here, 1/2 an inch. Remember, our smallest lines on this are 1/16 of an inch. So if I go 1/16 above a 1/2 inch, 1/2 an inch would be 8/16. So that makes that 9/16. So that line is 9/16 of an inch. Look at this one. So the first thing my eye is doing is, after I line it up, first I'm lining up here, lining up here. Then the next thing my eye is doing is going to which length of line am I dealing with. I'm looking at this saying, oh, it's my smallest line, so it's 1/16. Then I'm going 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch is 2/16. So that makes that 3/16. Other people, I think, would are if you practice with a ruler like this enough, you may not start at 1/2 an inch. You might immediately, your eye might immediately go down here and see that as 1/8 of an inch, and then immediately be able to go to that as 3/16. Of course, you could also count over from here. This is 0/16, 1, 2, 3/16. So there's lots of ways to get there. Probably those of us who have used tape measures a lot are hardly even aware of exactly what we're doing to find the measurement. Okay, let's do the next one here. Get it lined up. Okay, so I look at my measurement is right here. It's the shortest length, so I know it's going to be a number of 16ths. My eye goes back out here. That's my 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch is 8/16. That means that's 9/16. 1/16 above a half. Get this moved up a little bit here. Okay, if we look at that one, here's a 1/2 inch. My line lines up with this, which is the, so this is, if this is a 1/2 inch, this is 3/4. That means this is an 1/8 measurement. This is 1/2 inch, that means it's 4/8. That makes that 5/8. Again, as you get better at this, you'll be able to immediately recognize that as an 1/8 mark without doing the starting at a half and then noticing 3/4 and then noticing this one. But to start out with, I would do, I'm starting at a half, 3/4. So that's the 1/8 mark in between. A half is 4/8, so that makes that 5/8. Okay, line this one up. I know I'm at a 16th mark because I'm at one of the lowest, the shortest lines. I back up one. This is a half. This is 3/4. The way I do it, you may find other people do it differently. I just know immediately that 3/4 is 12/16, so that makes that 13/16. You could also go over here to 1 inch is 16/16. So this is 1, 2, 3 back from that. So that also is a way to get to know that that's 13/16. So do a bunch of practice. It'd be great if you can be around somebody who really knows how to read a tape measure easily, and then you can kind of practice with them and make sure you're getting it right. If you're new to tape measures, it takes a little while to get used to it, but after you get used to it, it really becomes second nature.